Now I'm going to show you how to do the 3-needle bind off. So I've gotten done with my very last row here, and in the pattern it says to not work that last stitch, and the reason is because this is the right point to turn around, to turn the work. It's right in the middle of these two center stitches that actually run along all the way through the shoulder here. You can see these two stitches here in the shoulder. These are the same two stitches down here, and so I want to turn my work in the right spot. Now I'm just going to remove my marker because I don't need it marking the beginning of the round anymore. Alright, so I'll remove that, and if I turn my work so that I can see the other side, the mirroring side, I see that I still have these same exact two stitches here that run all the length of the shoulder, and this is exactly in the middle, if right between them. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that spot right between those two. I'm calling them the shoulder stitches because they are the same two stitches that are so apparent, so evident in the shoulder here. So that's halfway, and this, where my yarn is coming out, is also halfway. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my work inside out. Just turn it inside out like that. Okay. All right. And so here I am, where my live yarn is. That's where I'm going to start the 3-needle bind off. And normally in patterns they'll tell you to switch to straight needles for this, but you don't really have to do that. If you're on circular needles and you know exactly where the middle of your work is, you can simply slide the stitches off just like that, and you're immediately positioned correctly for working the 3-needle bind off. So that's the advantage to having circular needles. All right, and then you're going to take your 3rd needle, which in this case is going to be a double point for me. It can be a straight needle. The only thing that is important is that it's the same size as these needles here. And I've been working on US size 9 needles, and this is the correct size. So I know this is the wrong side of the work, but we're still going to be knitting. So I knit through the first stitch and the second stitch at the same time. Kind of a knit two together, and then I'm going to do it again, that exact same things, just knitting through both of them, and then I'm going to take one of my needles and slide the first stitch over the second like that. Then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to knit through both, pull that yarn through, and then using one of my needles just slip that one right over. And again, knitting through both stitches, just like that, pulling it over. And this creates a really pretty closure, and it actually produces a pretty ridge on the inside of the work too. So, you know, as a designer, you yourselves will have to decide if you want the ridge on the right side or the wrong side of your work, depending on what you're working on. But what I'm working on here right now is a hot water bottle cozy that looks like this, and the bottom edge, as you can see, is a 3-needle bind off, and it just gives me this really clean closure, this really clean seam here. That I really like the look of. So I am hiding this little ridge that forms here on the inside of the work. And that's all there is to it. So you just knit through both, and then you slip the previous stitch over, and you just keep going until you reach the very end. All right. It's a really fun technique. I actually love this technique so much. I use it in a lot of my designs. This alleviates the need to do very much seaming at all. So I use it wherever I can.